Okay, so welcome to our first session of the Largest STEM Linguistics Club. So first, I want to give a little introduction about Linguistics Olympiad. So what is NACLO and IOL? So they are linguistics competitions. The first one, NACLO, North American Computational Linguistics Open Competition. It's a competition, and if you do well on it, you might be able to participate in Iowa, which is the International Linguistics Olympiad. So there are many ways to prepare for NACLO. So one thing that would be a good start is taking a foreign language class. Some people might be bilingual or they might take languages in school, so that would be helpful. There are also some linguistics textbooks, and you could also go over practice problems for previous tests. And here's a link to it. I'll send in the chat later. And then lastly, here is linked the Olympiad workshop that Zara had a while ago. So you can check that out also. So here are just some important dates. So the registration for the 2022 Open contest will start in late September. So it will start soon. And the test will be on January 27th and March 17th. Okay, so we're just going to start doing a few practice problems. So we're going to start with a simple one. So this question is called The Tortoise and the Rabbit. So I'm going to give a little introduction about the language that this is in. So Malagasy is a language with 25 million speakers, most of them living in Madagascar. Even though Madagascar is in Africa, Malagasy belongs to the Austronesian language family, making it a relative of Indonesian, Hawaiian, and many other languages spoken throughout the Pacific and Indian Oceans. Below are some sentences in Malagasy along with their English translations. So the first part of this problem is to fill in the blanks to this table. So on the left side over here are the Malagasy translations of it, and on the right is the English. So over here, A and B, you want to find the translations of them. So I'll give you guys around 5 minutes to work on it, I guess. Send me your answers once you finish it, and then we can discuss it later.
Wait, we might have messed up. I think the last row is like not supposed to be there, right?
Oh yeah, ignore the last row. The last row is going to be for the second part of it. Okay, so I've gotten a few answers. So does anyone want to explain how they got the answer? Okay, so I guess I'm gonna put you guys into breakout rooms and then you guys can just discuss how you guys did it. Okay, so I'll bring you guys back in. Just discuss what the answers you got and how you got them. If you don't want to talk, guys can just chat it. Okay, so I'm gonna make the breakout rooms right now. Okay, so most people are back, so I'm gonna just start explaining it. It's one of the easier problems, so I'm gonna just quickly explain it. And a lot of people got it. So here are the answers to this problem. So I'm gonna explain it. So let's look at the first sentence and the second sentence. So they're pretty similar, except there's one difference. Over here, this one starts with an M, and this one starts with an M. And over here, it's past tense, and this is present tense. And therefore, that would mean that if it's in present tense, then it would start with M. And if it's in past tense, it would start with. And then basically we can just look at all these sentences and find the meanings of some words. So over here, the third one and the first one, the third one, Mainty would be black, which means this means small. So we just want to find the meanings of these words. So over here, eventually we'll just see that. Wait, hold on. So Sokatora is tortoise because it's in these three sentences. So over here, we can translate this sentence first. So first of all, it would be smiled because it's in past tense. And then Mainty is black and Socotra is tortoise. So we'll get the answer to be the black tortoise smiled. And then we will see that Alika is dog from this sentence. So then over here, the words, it'll be, you also see that Alika is meats. So once we translate it, we'll get this sentence. Okay, so now I want to move on to the next question. So this is the second part of it. So just fill in these blanks. Can everyone like see the screen? Okay, some people can't see it, so I'm just gonna reshare it. Can everyone see it now?
It works for me.
Alright, so I want to put you guys in breakout rooms for a few minutes, and you guys can work on it. Okay, so these are the answers to the second part. So I just want to quickly explain it. So the first one, A. So in the sentence above that, the small dog spoke, and this one is the small dog speaks. They're very similar, and we know that if a verb is in present tense, then it starts with an M, and if it's in past tense, it starts with an N. So therefore, you would just change the first letter of the previous sentence to get the answer. Okay, so the next one. So we can just see here from the second sentence, any means that, and it's just going to be around the subject. So that dog, they would put that around it, and then that means over here it would be this something. So we see from the first sentence that vitro means large, and well, we see that this means large rabbit. So this large rabbit, and we just have to see what. So Saka from the third sentence, we'll see that it means, wait, from the third sentence, we'll see that Saka means cat. And then from the second sentence, we'll see that miaro means protects, and since it would be in past tense, it would be protected. So the final sentence would be, this large rabbit protected the cat. In the last sentence, this green bird greeted that small frog. So the sentences always start with the verb in the beginning. Greeted, it would be from the third sentence, and it would start with an N. And then it usually has the direct object first, and then the subject. So the direct object is like who they're doing the action to. So who is the green bird doing the action to, and that would be the frog. So it would be that, and then we see that it would be small frog from the third and fourth sentence, and then it would be this green bird, which is itty, and then from the first and third sentence, we'll see that we'll get green bird. So does anyone have any questions? Okay, so now Jeffrey is going to explain a problem. So Jeffrey, I'm going to stop my screen sharing and you can share screen.
All right, hi, can everyone hear me? Okay, cool. So this problem is it's slightly different from the one before. So first of all, this is not any kind of real language. All of these words in red are basically, they're just made up. They could mean like pretty much anything. So first I'll give you like a few minutes just to read these sentences. They probably won't make sense, but just if you look at it, you can't really, from the looks of these sentences, you can't find out much about what the words actually mean, right? Because if you say like Jane is mollistic and slatty, this can mean literally anything. So what we want to do here is just maybe find some clues about what the words mean. So does anyone have any idea how to, on like maybe something we could do to help like narrow the words down? You could just say it in the chat or just call it out loud or something. All right, so someone said, okay, so the teacher might be a clue. Well, I guess you can, like, I assume what you're saying is like, maybe that means Dante and Cluvy are like good things. I mean, sure to an extent, but you can't, this is not always like something you can assume. For all we know, it could just be like a terrible teacher or something. So good idea though. Someone said, even though in but statements showing contradictions. Yes, good idea. So So one thing I want to introduce here is the idea of a connotation. And what this word basically means is it's an idea that's shown in a word. So for example, if I say like Bob is kind or something like that, then the word kind has a positive connotation because it gives you like a good impression of Bob. Or if I say Bob, or if I say like Bob is untrustworthy, then that has a negative connotation because it gives you a bad impression. So let's use this idea a bit. So when you say even though and but statements showing contradictions, then if we say, let's take like this third sentence, for example, then this means that what you can see is out of the words slatty and danty, one of them is going to have a positive connotation and one of them is negative. Does this make sense? Because we can't say like Mo- Molly and Kyle are smart but kind or something like that. That makes no sense. And similarly, if we say Molly is blitty but cluvy, one of them has to be positive and one of them has to be negative. They can't be matching. So let's use this idea a bit. So let's make a chart on which ones are positive or negative connotations. So first of all, what we can realize is whenever you use the word and in a sentence, then this means that these two words will have the same connotation. Sorry, my handwriting is kind of bad. So what we can do is we can sort of just make a chart and figure out which ones imply like something positive and which ones don't. So for example, in this first sentence, out these two words mollistic and slatty, we know they have to be on the same side of the chart. Does this make sense? You can just say it in the chat if you have a question. All right, cool. Now, if we look at this second sentence, we can sort of do the same thing. We know the words cluvius and brastic are going to be on the same side of this chart. The problem is we can't fill this out yet because what we don't know is which side that is on. So we're going to have to skip this sentence for now. We're going to come back to it later. Now in this third sentence, Slatty, we already know which side of the, we already know Slatty is on this side of the chart. This means the word Dante is going to be on the opposite side. Now in the next sentence, Cluvy is going to have to be on the same side as Dante. What just happened? So now if if Molly is blitty but cluvy, then the word blitty is going to be on the opposite side of the chart. Sorry, this is kind of glitched. Now, this next sentence, these next three sentences, we're going to, not even, these next four sentences, unfortunately, we're going to have to skip all of them for now, because the reason for this is because the words sloshful, wheezy, frumsy, strungy, struffy, all of this, none of this is mentioned like anywhere in these sentences that we already went over. So we can figure out, for example, sloshful and wheezy are on the same side of the chart, but because we have nothing to compare it to, we don't know which side of the chart it's going to be on. So we're going to have to skip through all of this for now and come back when we have some more information. Is all of this making sense so far? Sorry, I might be going too fast. And okay. Everyone else, is this idea fine? I can always explain something again if you want. So we skip all of these four sentences. So the second to last sentence, the word blitty already appears on our chart. So this means that the word struffy is going to appear on this opposite side. And in this last sentence, this means we see that the word cluvius is also going to appear on the right side, since it's on the opposite side of the word slatty. So now we can go back and look at all of these sentences that we missed. So the second sentence, Jennifer is cluvius and brastic. So what does that mean? Are cluvius and brastic on the same side or different sides? Right. So brastic is also on this side. Now, we're going to have to skip these two sentences again because unfortunately we still don't see any of these four words in the chart yet. But we know from the sentence after them that strungy and struffy have to be on the same side. And we know that from the sentence right after that wheezy and strungy are on opposite sides. So now if we just finish up these last two, sloshful and wheezy are on the same side of the chart. And frumsy and sloshful are on opposite sides of the chart. So yay, now we've sorted out all of these words into two sides. One side is positive and one side is negative. Now the problem here is that we don't know which is which. Now, so one of these is positive connotation, one of them is negative connotation. So basically, one side is like something positive about the person, one side is something negative. So is there anything in any of these sentences that could maybe give us a clue to figure out which side is which? I'll give you a few minutes to think about it. So I've seen that some people have pointed this out in the chat already. So the the clue as to which side is which is here. Because if we look at it, every other sentence in here is just describing like a person, which doesn't help with figuring out which like if the person and their actions are being described as like good or bad. But if we look at this sentence, the the author says that Diane was a pleasure to watch. And if something is a pleasure to watch, then unless you're some kind of random sadistic bastard, then it's usually going to imply a good thing about the person. So this means that the words strungy and struffy are probably going to be having a positive connotation describing Diane. So this suggests that this side is positive and this side is negative. Does this make sense? So I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure. I'm going to switch. All of the questions are on the next slide. So I suggest, like, if you haven't already, just copy down this table on the left that we worked through to get. It's basically going to answer our questions. I'll give you guys a minute or so. All right, so I think we are ready to start answering some of the questions. Let's figure out how to make Google Slides work again. Sorry, give me a second. That's, oops. All right. So these two so turns out it does save. I'm sorry for making people write that down. So these two questions, now that we have our table, it should be fairly straightforward to answer. So you guys can just answer in the chat and I'll just go over it like very briefly later. Just send it to me in like a private message. Okay, so I think I can just go over these now. So for problem 1, first, wait, actually, I can wait a bit. So question 1, which of the following would you be likely to hear? So we can just keep looking at our nice little table on the left. So choice A, Meredith is Blitty and Brastic. This would mean that Blitty and Brastic would be on the same side of the chart. But if we look at our table here, then they're not. So this means that A doesn't really make sense. Now, if we look at